Now on CNET Central.
Economic reality slams into the online world and the casualties line the info highway. We've got a special report.
Helping hands go digital, and the web brings a whole new meaning to volunteerism.
Hey Rich, it's Josh from Mixman.
What's it like running a small software startup?
Okay, everyone get back to work.
We'll take you behind the scenes and spend a day in the life.
Plus, we'll show you how to make internet phone calls without a computer and how to add zip to your downloading.
And Steven Spielberg's new cyber ride and the finest in arts and entertainment on the best of the web. Right now on CNET Central.
Now, from the #1 on-air and online information source for the digital age, this is CNET Central.
Hi, I'm Richard Hart.
And I'm Gina St. John. Welcome to CNET Central.
The rush to colonize cyberspace the last few years has led to a kind of land grab mentality. Tens of thousands of companies and entrepreneurs staking a claim on the World Wide Web with the hope of striking it rich.
But while a handful of companies have achieved success through stock offerings, the majority of sites have yet to turn a profit, leading many to pack up shop and call it quits.
It's hard to believe, but the good old days of the web could have been just last year. The online rush has slowed to a crawl as reality sets in and the web shakes out. From gold mine to landmine, the World Wide Web has proven to be a disappointing business venture to more than just a few companies.
It wasn't a gold rush. You know, you just weren't going to strike it rich by just plugging a computer into the wall and getting an internet connection.
Dale Doherty reflects on 3 of his own web ventures that did not pan out. The most notable of which was the electronic magazine called Web Review.
We had difficulty getting advertising. We had difficulty, I think, getting the kind of numbers and the traffic that we needed to sell the advertising as well. And we were also competing in a marketplace where there were just so many choices.
Unable to secure ad revenues, the magazine even went so far as to ask its readers whether they would pay a subscription fee. About 700 said they would, but not enough to keep the magazine afloat, causing Doherty to shut it down. How long do you think it took for the shakeout to begin?
Well, in some ways, people seem to signal that Web Review's closing in May signaled the beginning of that shakedown. I mean, it was certainly a lot of interest. It was the first time that someone went up and said, we have to stop doing this. We can't afford it anymore.
The site was later revived by a local investment firm, but now serves mainly as a funnel to other sites. Doherty says other signs of a web shakeout can be seen all over the net, as dozens of sites have fallen by the wayside. Just last month, the American Cybercast Network, best known for the web soap The Spot, filed for bankruptcy and canceled 2 of its soaps.
I don't think it's news that content isn't making money.
Analyst Peter Keene points out that developing and maintaining a website is costly.
A site like, for example, Pathfinder, Time Warner, is reportedly hemorrhaging money at an incredible rate. There was a figure that I read that said they'd spent about $38 million in their first 2 years just creating this site, which it's taken a lot of interesting brands and thrown them together, but that's not really what it's all about.
And Keene says if the big boys can't make it, you can imagine how the little ones are faring.
The top 10 advertisers are taking 64% of the revenue. So the little guys, even some of these episodics that may have a real sort of organic mainstream or, smaller stream following, they really can't, climb to the top of the tree and get the real advertising dollars that the top 10 guys are making.
And analysts say it's those potential ad dollars that are keeping most of them in the game.
There's no answer yet whether it will be a great gold mine in terms of a business, but they have to be there. They have to be there primarily because they want to be prepared to take advantage of what might be a wonderful market opportunity.
According to Jupiter, that market opportunity will grow to more than $5 billion by the year 2000. At the same time, analysts predict an even greater concentration of that advertising money within a handful of large media companies. And I suppose at this point, for people who are wondering, we have to mention CNET's websites are doing just fine, thank you. We aren't in any danger of going away.
Now, while many have seen the web as a wide-open frontier for turning a quick buck, others have found a more charitable use, using the net to bring people together in the spirit of public service. Now, if you ever thought about volunteer work, you may want to check out a website near you. Volunteer? Oh yeah, you thought about it, but never had the time or energy to figure out who you wanted to help or how to make it happen. But now, even if you have your nose buried in your computer most of the time, the answer is right at your fingertips.
Sometimes we call ourselves computer yentas.
Compumentor is a national organization that matches people willing to volunteer their computer knowledge with nonprofits that need help but can't afford it.
So these nonprofits that before the mentors arrived were just wandering in the wilderness, all of a sudden had people sitting right next to them at their computers willing to stay the course to give them the help they needed.
It's unlikely that that's caused this problem.
Joe Such is a mentor in San Francisco. Every weekend he spends hours fixing up stacks and stacks of donated computers. He's part of an innovative school program that provides older, refurbished computers to needy kids and their families.
I remember about 2 months ago, a boy was in here getting his computer, and he was just beside himself, you know. And, you know, by our standards, it wasn't the greatest computer, but it was sort of his entry point into that world.
Joe is a software developer by trade. He says he joined Compumentor a few years ago because he wanted to give back to his community.
I realized that people with skills like mine, I had a lot to offer, and there's a lot of people in nonprofits and, you know, in outside of the corporate domain who don't have the money but need the technology.
Compumentor works specifically to match highly trained computer experts with people in need. Its website has an extensive online application that outlines your skills, then the Yenta goes to work.
We know that we could find mentors anywhere in the country now with really minimal effort, and that means we can serve people anywhere in the country.
But you don't need to be a computer expert to volunteer. A different website, Impact Online, can match you up with a nonprofit organization that fits your interests. You can search by subject, skills, location, and before you know it, you have a list of organizations to contact. And the internet is generating some very specialized matchmaking too. A unique program in Boston matches high school girls interested in science with professional women who become their telementors. They communicate by email and offer guidance and support.
Why do you have to have batteries in a computer?
That's an excellent question. I don't know.
Chances are, if there's a mentor program in your neighborhood, you can find it on the web. Compumentor was offering help long before online applications made the process so easy. And while it may be too soon to tell if more people are signing up online, Compumentor's founder is hopeful the web will bring a whole new dimension to volunteering.
10 years from now, we'll have a situation where all this technology gets people out from behind the technology into organizations that need help on a level that will be so far beyond what is present now.
We've shown you a few, but there are dozens of websites that can help you find the right volunteer match. Some organizations look for long-term situations, others for just one-day shifts. And if you don't have time, but you have money to donate, you can also find a good cause online. Now, to find the links that we visited or more info on volunteering, head on over to CNET.com. Now, don't go away. When we come back, just how safe is your favorite airline? We'll show you where to find the answer. And check out the finest in arts and entertainment and the admission's free on the best of the web.
America Online members are still enduring busy signals, not just by modem, but now by telephone, the company's customer service line. AOL agreed to give members a month of online credit or up to a 2-month cash refund after the glutted service shut customers out in recent months. But the 800 line set up to handle refund requests has been overwhelmed. You can mail a refund request to America Online at Post Office Box 511, Ogden, Utah, 84402-0511. In a somewhat related move, you can forget about replenishing your floppy supply with unwanted AOL disks. In an effort to cut marketing costs, the company has put a stop to sending out those unsolicited disks. The Federal Aviation Administration is going online with airline safety records previously closed to the public. The FAA's site will, for the first time, post those safety records, including accident information and statistics. Travelers will be able to investigate whether an airline has had near collisions or has been slapped with major civil fines for breaking safety laws. Most of this information has only been available to the public upon formal request under the Freedom of Information Act. The NBA has fouled out in court in its battle to be sole provider of live basketball scores. A federal court made a precedent-setting ruling last week that NBA scores are not the property of the NBA and not protected by copyright law. The case was set off by Stats Incorporated, providing live NBA scores to America Online and Motorola pager customers. This ruling opens the door for companies to broadcast live sports stats online. Director Steven Spielberg's newest masterpiece is set to hit the big screens next month. Not movie screens, but interactive gaming screens in its new GameWorks entertainment centers. A string of Spielberg's new arcades/restaurants will dot the U.S. throughout '97. The first is scheduled for Seattle. They'll house amusement park-scale interactive rides and electronic sporting, with the most hyped attraction being Vertical Reality, a 30-foot-high ride with 4 chairlifts. GameWorks will run on debit cards rather than cash, with customers paying 75 cents to $5 per ride. The centers are slated to open in Las Vegas, Dallas, Phoenix, and Ontario, California. For more on any of these stories, go to news.com, the one place to bookmark to stay up on all the daily news of the digital world.
Thanks, Richard. Now, we've told you before about all the stuff that you can download from the net and where to find it, but we sometimes take for granted how to do it. And that's the subject of this week's Fact File. And your favorite, Sophie Formica, she's here with one of your frequently asked questions.
Thank you, Gina. And thank you for all the mail and great questions. This week's query comes to us from Terry in Lancaster, California, who asks us, what is a zip program and why would I need to install one on my system? Well, Terry, zip refers to one of the more popular ways of compressing data for sending over the internet. There are others, of course. Mac users are probably familiar with ZIP files, but they all do pretty much the same thing. Now, I have a prop today. If you think of this rock as, say, a new game you want to try, at its regular size, it might take an hour to download, if you're lucky. But if the author has compressed the game with the help of a zip program, your wait might only be 10 minutes. And what you'll end up with on your computer is a file with a suffix like .zip or .sit, which you'll then need to decompress. And that's where a utility like WinZip for PCs or Stuffit for Mac comes in handy. Now, these freely available programs will unzip or unstuff that file into the full-size game you're after. One other type of compression you may run across on the net are .sea files. These self-extracting archives will decompress themselves without any other special software. Now, if you've got questions about computers and the net, we want to hear from you, so send your questions to the Fact File at CNET.com or through regular snail mail to the Fact File at 150 Chestnut Street, San Francisco, California 94111. And if you want to find those utilities or more about downloading, you can head on over to CNET.com, and you can also get those Fact File addresses and check out questions and answers from past weeks.
Thanks, Sophie. Just ahead on CNET Central, a new way to make internet phone calls without a computer.
This is excellent.
And we'll show you what life is like running a small startup company.
You're watching CNET Central on CNET, the digital domain.
The best of the web is brought to you by MCI One. Life just got simpler.
If you're looking for some fun and excitement this weekend, we've got your e-ticket. That's E for entertainment on this week's Best of the Web. Admissions free at the Fine Arts Museums of San Francisco website. Take a cyber tour of the Bay Area's finest with a click over to the Legion of Honor and the DeYoung Museum. You'll find exhibitions, collections, and membership info. But best of all, with over 60,000 works of art, this site boasts the largest online collection and searchable database of art in the world. Just pick an artist. Let's try Rodin. Then sit back and soak it all in. Now, if you'd rather hit the movies than the museums, then head on over to movielink.com. From the folks that brought you MoviePhone, now you can find out what's playing in a theater near you on the net. Link to the major metropolitan areas, browse the location and time of the film of your choice. It's fast and convenient, but if you can't figure out what it is you want to see, get the scoop with reviews and previews. And one movie you don't want to miss is Alien 4 Resurrection. At this website, get an inside look at the continuing Alien saga, along with sound clips.
My mommy always said there were no monsters.
There's also the complete scripts, character, and creature bios. But most notable is the section detailing key scenes left out from the original Alien films. For more on the best of the web, visit CNET.com. This week you'll also find an entertainment search engine and the feminist science fiction fantasy site.
Gina, hold the phone. This is the most amazing use of the internet I've seen yet. Making long-distance phone calls over the net to save money, but without a computer and without a modem. Desmond Crisis is here from CNET Labs to explain this whole internet phone thing.
Yeah, right now, if you want to make a phone call across the internet, at least somebody's got to have a computer and a modem. Some of them can actually even dial to normal phone lines, but somebody has to own this equipment. It's pretty rickety. You exchange small audio files back and forth.
Now, the advantage to this, of course, is there is a saving. When a computer calls a computer over the internet, there's no long-distance charge associated with it, but still, it's kind of expensive if you're buying a $2,000 computer. This is a typical vocal tech application here, right?
You can see that you have to either know the internet protocol address of the person, which can change, or be waiting for their call, leaving your machine in this state.
See, now you can dispense with all that gobbledygook now because of a new company in Australia called Mail. Desmond is using an ordinary telephone and dialing a local number, which is one of Mail's computers. That computer will ask him to enter a personal identification number. Now, after you've entered your code number, you're allowed to dial any number in England, New Zealand, or Australia. They are expanding to more countries rapidly. And we'll dial one of Desmond's buddies in England right now.
3.
This is the guy we're calling?
3, 4.
Now watch how rapidly it connects to the phone system in England. That's it. Now listen to the quality.
Hello?
Hello, Matt. So how well do you hear us?
I hear you perfectly.
Really? And remember when we tried to do this across the internet phone?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work at all because you cut each other out. This is excellent, and you don't even get an echo of yourself.
Now, these calls are 8 cents a minute through Mail. If I worked for one of the large long-distance phone companies, I would be getting a little worried right about now. Once again, all the information is at CNET.com. Desmond, thank you again.
Thank you. Thanks, Matt.
You got no excuse not to call me now.
Cheers. See ya.
We told you earlier about the economic shakeout currently hitting the World Wide Web. Well, making it in the highly competitive, constantly changing world of software is no easier.
But what's it really like running a startup software company? Well, we sent our cameras behind the scenes at one small firm to find out.
1, 2, 3, 4, hit it!
My name is Josh Gabriel, 28 years old, and I have a software company called Mixman. We take songs from record companies and we take all the master audio tracks and put it in a computer and people can then remix it. Then we have a record company called iMix Records. With any startup, everybody's wearing a million hats. You don't have a job. It's basically whatever it takes to get it done. All of us live walking or biking distance to work. Mixman, we chose to be in the heart of San Francisco because that's where multimedia is happening. I started the company with my partner Eric. He's basically the business guy and I'm more the technical, creative. You know. About a year ago, we were fortunate enough to actually get enough investment money that we were able to get this office, and it's basically been going 900 miles an hour ever since. We work somewhere between 10 and 14 hours a day. I guess with any startup, you're always running by the seat of your pants. It's not, show up, you know what you're doing. It's what are we gonna do? Let's make it up. We gotta figure out what we're gonna do. The one thing that makes it fun here is that everybody loves the product. Everybody loves music. Everybody loves it. That's what makes people able to put in crazy hours because, it's like fun to come here.
Okay, everyone get back to work.
Cool. I don't really have an average day. I mean, one day I might be in New York dealing with record companies. Another day I might be recording music. We have a trip down to LA next week. We're going to be meeting with one of our, Eric and I, we have a a private fascination with George Clinton, so we're trying to do a CD-ROM with him. Hey Rich, it's Josh from Mixman. We got a jam. Today we have an in-store demo at the Virgin Megastore.
In-store demos is our opportunity to really talk to people, show people, get their hands on it, get their reactions.
Today I'm tired. We were working on a song till about 1:30 last night, so we did the lead vocals for the song, and tonight we're going to go do the backup and the chorus and stuff like that.
Hey, what's up? Where is it coming out? 7 and 8? Okay, go for it. Creative director for our record company. He lives here, he works here. This is sort of his office, workspace, everything space.
There's a magic in the air I feel tonight.
Normally, if you were doing a record, you'd go in a big studio, hire a world-famous mixing engineer, and it would all sound great, and you wouldn't have to worry about it. But we just don't have that kind of budget, so we have to do it all ourselves. So we'll see how it comes out.
Ecstasy.
In the beginning, it was scary. All these people actually, are counting on you, and after a while that gets numb, and you basically just, it's a ride, it's a rush. You have this thing, and you want people to see it, so you get it out there any way you can, and you hope that it'll hit.
You can check out the reality of Josh's labor of love for yourself at the company's website. It's mixman.com.
And this action music game DJ experience allows you to listen to music samples, download a functional demo, or buy the real deal for about $40.
That's about all we have for this week. Thanks for tuning in and logging on.
As usual, you can find out more at CNET.com.
See you next time.
So long.
Thanks for joining us this week on CNET, the digital domain.